Greeting my Omnians. Before we get started, be sure you've already conquered that like button, subscribe for more epic content, and rang that notification bell. We've reached the final video of our 2003 retrospective, a pivotal year that really challenged what we thought we knew about our favorite heroes. This was a year where moral lines blurred and our heroes were forced to confront their darker sides. We saw characters like Wolverine and Iron Man tested to their breaking point, and we were hit with a jaw-dropping twist that brought a long-lost love back into the Hulk's life. We saw characters pushed into impossible situations that changed the course of their stories. So before we close the book on 2003, let's finish our deep dive into the brutal truths and major moments that defined this unforgettable year. Silver Surfer, Volume 5, Issue 2. Alright, my comic collective, we're starting off with issue 2 of 6, so I'll back up a little. Let's kick off with Ellie Waters, a young autistic kid in New Orleans who's a total art whiz. Problem is, all she's drawing lately is the same freaky, silvery alien, over and over. Her mom, Denise Waters, is a street voodoo practitioner, hustling fortunes to keep the bills paid. One night after her street operation gets busted by the police, Denise heads home with Ellie, and just as she's trying to catch some Z's, an electric blast jolts the house. Denise rushes to Ellie's room only to witness a terrifying sight, the same silvery alien abducting her daughter right before her eyes. This issue slams down the shocking start of Denise's nightmare, and this sets the stage for Silver Surfer's direct involvement with his family's sudden, terrifying crisis. It's a brutal entry into a cosmic conflict. Alright, true believers, we just saw Ellie snatched and Denise reeling. Now let's punch forward into the next issue, where the search for Ellie heats up, and the stakes get even higher. The action picks up fast, true believers. It's night at the Akron mansion in Washington, and Gabe Akron wakes up to a terrifying sight. He's face to face with the same silvery alien. His father Stuart hears the ruckus and tries to save his son, but a jolt of extreme pain stops him cold. Meanwhile, Denise Waters is reporting Ellie's abduction to the police. She's eventually taken to the hospital, nursing burns she got from being too close to the silvery alien. Once released, Denise hits the internet cafes, desperate for answers for her missing daughter. So intense is she that she's eventually kicked out for scaring off the other customers. Out on the street, Denise bumps into Lieutenant Morin again, the same cop she's already crossed paths with twice, but this time he offers to help. Now, back in the unknown, Ellie and Gabe are together, and Ellie shows off a wild talent, astral projecting to her mom. But the projection snaps back as the Silver Surfer himself makes an appearance. Talk about a cliffhanger. Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1, Issue 432. In Azazel's dimension, the X-Men are throwing down with his demonic horde, but a single powerful blast of their leader stops everyone cold. With his followers and his opponents stunned, Azazel calls out specific mutants he wants brought before him at dinner, singling out Wolverine the Animal and Nightcrawler as well. Meanwhile, in a quiet home in Vancouver, the scene is anything but peaceful. Miss Perret is in a heated argument with her husband Claude about his physical abuse of their son Sammy. She throws a cutting barb, saying Sammy would probably be safer with the monster Juggernaut than his own father. Just then, a knock at the door sends a shiver down Claude's spine. Miss Perret opens the door and gasps in shock at the sight as Kane Marco and his friend Northstar. Back in Azazel's eerie dining hall, he's just dropped the biggest bombshell of them all. Azazel tells Kurt that he, along with the terrifying Mystique, are actually his biological parents. The gasps of Nightcrawler's teammates are almost as loud as his own. Azazel, calm in command, proves his chilling words by having his follower Idrisil brutally kill Professor Dibble for daring to call him a liar. The X-Men look on, stunned, and Wolverine unleashes his claws. And this, folks, is the feels, fellow fanatics. Juggernaut calmly tells the Perets that he's only there to make sure Sammy's all right. But the parents aren't having any of it, revealing that they have a restraining order against him. Miss Perret tries to find the panic button just as Kane's expression of concern turns to pure, unadulterated fury as he lays eyes on the battered and bruised face of Sammy. Kane lifts Claude up and in a brutal display breaks his arm before throwing him through the wall into the lawn outside. But as he does, the cavalry arrives, Alpha Flight looking ready to rumble in brand new gear. Northstar quips, well, look what we have here. Alpha Flight all dressed up and ready to rumble in new designer armor. How chic. With two impossible situations unfolding at once, the stakes have never been higher. And what do you think Azazel's ultimate goal is for the Nightcrawler? What a chaotic scene we're jumping into. We're at a diner where a guy named Uper is teasing a dude named Clem, who's got a grim secret, an alien parasite stuck into him who wants to eat everyone. Uper, thinking it's just a joke, doesn't notice as Clem transforms into a massive black monster. As the patrons bolt for the door, they're gunned down by two agents from the Ararat Corporation. But the alien symbiote isn't there for the agents. It's looking for a new home, and it finds one in a woman named Nan. And just as the agents are about to take out Nan, Wolverine himself appears out of nowhere, only to be attacked from behind by the newly bonded symbiote. And now, it's a full-blown brawl between Logan and the new terrifying Nan. Logan slices off the symbiote's hand, but it regenerates instantly, laughing as it tells him that no one's ever heard it like that before. Wolverine quickly realizes this is not the Venom he's used to dealing with. The symbiote taunts him, calling him a disappointment, just an angry little man with small knives. In a full berserker's frenzy, Logan tries to break free, but the symbiote just scoffs, telling him it's only making him hungrier as he tries to make him a new host. And as the fight rages on, Patricia Robertson, a woman who's been caught up in all of this, regains consciousness and tries to make a run for it, only to be ambushed by Frankie. And at the same time, the suit appears firing a powerful blast at Logan. The symbiote is still pushing for Logan to become his host, promising he will never be hungry again, but the suit's blast is so powerful it reduces Wolverine to a skeleton, though bizarrely his clothes are still intact. Talk about a brutal end for Logan. Xtreme X-Men, Volume 1, Issue 33. Okay, my fandom, we're jumping right into the thick of it at the courthouse at Valle Soleada, where mutant hater Maria DeCanto is pleading not guilty to a hate crime. And this case is a powder keg. We have mutant and anti-mutant factions clashing left and right as the political tensions ratchet up. We cut to Rogue, who's having a nightmare from hell. In her dream, she's terrified as she morphs into Mystique and viciously kills her teammates. Hearing her foster mother's voice taunting her over and over again that she's only good because of her stolen hero memories. Fortunately, Lila, Cheney, and Cannonball teleport just in time to wake her up from the nightmare. The next day, a smooth-talking lawyer named Jared Malloy shows up and tries to scam Anna and Sam into selling their beach house, arguing it's the best for their own kind to stick together. Sage and Sam immediately see through the slick scheme, realizing it's a covert way for baselines to push mutants out of their neighborhoods. The stakes are raised even higher when Storm makes a bold statement at the presidential ranch warning that young mutants are the real concern for the future of global survival. The problem isn't just outside forces, though. We cut to a beach party where some arrogant mutants are bragging about causing the DeCanto accident, which enrages Rogue. As Rogue promises to show that bragging mutants what hardcore really means, the team gets to work on the DeCanto case. But the bigger story is just beginning. Bishop and the others arrive, with Bishop saying that Jared puts a new spin on Marie's case. Sage, knowing exactly what Jared is up to, takes off to find him. Completely unaware that she has just walked into a much bigger trap, as she leaves the shadowy Elias Bogan, a powerful figure from her past, watches her from afar, knowing that she has returned to him. And the stakes just went from political to personal. Do you think Rogue will break free from Mystique's dark legacy? X-Statix, Volume 1, Issue 15. Welcome back, my comic cadets. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just flipping through the pages, we're diving into the X-Statix archives. Get ready to catch up on Henrietta Hunter's wild ride. You'll need it for what comes next. Now, after years of being dead, Henrietta Hunter brings herself back to life. How? She inhabits a recently deceased corpse, transforming it to resemble herself. Her resurrection immediately grabs the European government's attention, and they quickly try to end her life. Again. Fortunately, Spike Freeman, always an angle on that one, gets involved. He sends X-Statix to rescue Henrietta, bringing her to their headquarters. Professor Xavier confirms she's a mutant, but the team's not keen on adding her. Seeking a new place, Henrietta begins the talk show circuit, including Lacuna on the Stars. European power brokers Reggie and Dicky view her celebrity as a threat. And while they strategize, Spike Freeman approaches them with the Eurotrash, a crew of international assassins with stereotypical powers. The deal? His team kills Henrietta Hunter for the assassination media rights. What a grim PR stunt. And soon after, as the X-Statix megastore opening in Times Square, the Wall kidnaps Henrietta. Tyke is hesitant to rescue someone he dislikes, but then Spider-Man arrives, and even if Tyke isn't Henrietta's fan, nobody steals the X-Statix limelight. So the team leaps into action. Now, in a war-torn country, Jesus Diaz dreams of being a mutant like Guy Smith or Tyke Alucard to join the X-Statix in America. Tragically, he steps on a landmine. Back in America, the X-Statix tried to save Henrietta from Eurotrash. Spider-Man briefly clashes with Billy Bob before the villains drag Henrietta into the megastore. Inside, Henrietta attempts to convince Eurotrash to improve their standing, aiming for more fame than the X-Statix. Now, from their tower, the X-Statix learn the Eurotrash demand a $10 million ransom. Later, Spike phones Reggie, promising Henrietta's death to prevent his own documents detailing chemical shipments to Saddam Hussein from leaking. Dupe eavesdrops on the phone call and records it for Guy and Tyke. The team confronts Spike, and then El Guapo ties him up while the others are off to save Henrietta. Then Spike convinces El Guapo to kill Henrietta, making it look like an accident. When El Guapo arrives inside the megastore, he considers killing Henrietta by accident, but instead kills Blind Alley. Later, X-Statix holds a press conference alongside Henrietta. Reggie watches Henrietta claim she wants to change X-Statix costumes on television, causing him to have a heart attack and collapse. Henrietta is then shown visiting young Jesus, crippled by the landmine, who wishes to be a mutant and join the X-Statix. Henrietta claims she can arrange honorary membership, and the team then sees her initial costume designs. Bombshell, Spike reveals Henrietta will soon replace Tyke as the leader, citing shareholder and marketing approval. The team reaches a chilling consensus. Henrietta must die. Spike immediately approves. But to truly grasp the tangled web that's about to ensnare our heroes, and to understand just how deep the rabbit hole goes, we need to take a detour. Let's rewind a few years, back to Texas. Earlier, Spike attended a speech by Mr. Code. Remember that name. And in the present, outside a Florida shopping mall, a young man named Wayne tries to discard food his mother has bought. And then she and 14 others are shot dead, with similar incidents in Denver and San Francisco. As hysteria grips the nation, Secretary of Homeland Defense Ed Wolfman appears on TV urging no panic, and Mr. Code watches on. As the X-Statix watch Wolfman, Spike brings up killing Henrietta on a Caribbean yacht. And the X-Statix teleport onto the yacht, confronting her and stating their intent to kill her. But then Lacuna reveals herself having used Venus to teleport her there. Lacuna vouches for Henrietta, seeing her as the symbol of a woman used and discarded when they begin to grow. Later, the X-Statix reconsider killing Henrietta after a mission with her to rescue a reality TV show that was kidnapped by the Taliban in Afghanistan. Billy Bob bravely defects an explosive aimed at Henrietta, saving her life but crippling El Guapo instead. After the mission, Tyke lashes out at Billy Bob for saving Henrietta. Billy Bob and Miles argue with Tyke about El Guapo's injuries before Guy breaks them up, declaring Henrietta will destroy the X-Statix if they're not careful. The random killings continue, and 2 civilians are shot in Milwaukee. While discussing Henrietta, Wolfman claims he tried to protect the people and urges the X-Statix to help. Guy opposes intervening, but the decision is Henrietta's. X-Statix holds a press conference where Henrietta simultaneously declares that she will take over Homeland Defense and end the random killings. And that brings us right up to the present. What a ride, huh? Avengers Volume 3, Issue 73. This wild ride kicks off with Ant-Man soaking up some quality time with his daughter, playing with his shrinking tech and explaining that Hank Pym hooked him up. They share a sad farewell as Jarvis arrives to take her home. Scott then asks the big question: have the rest of the Avengers found Jennifer Walters yet? Cut to Bone, Idaho, where an out-of-control She-Hulk is absolutely tearing things up trying to blast the Scarlet Witch. Wanda tries to dial down the Gamma in Jen to bring her back, but the She-Hulk resists. Iron Man shows up, tries to contain her, and fails miserably. Wanda and Captain America then realize Jen is far stronger in this state. She-Hulk tries to punch their tickets, but Iron Man swoops in, saving them and flying them away as the battle triggers a gas explosion. Talk about a bad first impression. Back at the Avengers mansion, Scott takes Jack of Hearts to the Zero Room so the dude can recharge. But it's not a friendly chat, comic companions. Scott immediately lays into Jack, straight up blaming him for Jennifer losing control of her She-Hulk form because he thinks Jack of Hearts is siphoning Gamma from her. A sorrowful Jack gets locked away in that room for 14 hours. Meanwhile, back in Bone, a frantic restaurant owner tries and fails to contact the military, who are already assuming it's Hulk causing the ruckus. There's this great She-Hulk mad page, and then she continues on her full-on rampage. The Scarlet Witch, suddenly remembering Jen talking about her fear triggering her transformation, and figures it out. They've got to get She-Hulk out of town so she can chill. And the She-Hulk tries to smash a cable tower. Wanda, thinking quick, makes the tower fall right on top of her in hopes of stopping the rampage. That move fails spectacularly as She-Hulk just rises up unscathed, shaking it off like it's nothing. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, Hawkeye shows up out of nowhere, joining the fray. Get ready for some more action. The Incredible Hulk, Volume 2, Issue 62. Our tale starts back up with Doc Samson and Sandra Verduga on that frantic race to Nadia's diner, a journey that ended in a fiery crash orchestrated by the sinister operatives of Home Base. The agents on direct order to kill both of them are specifically instructed that Sandra can't just be killed. Her remains must be dismembered and scattered. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Nadia and the mysterious Mr. Blue find themselves under siege. They retreat inside from the horrifying swarm of insect-like creatures known as the Krill, creations of Home Base sent to collect a sample of the Hulk's blood. The situation gets even more tense as Mr. Blue suddenly turns a shotgun on Nadia, but then immediately fires it into the darkness, killing one of the Krill creatures. The siege intensifies, forcing Nadia and Mr. Blue to barricade themselves in the house's upper levels, fighting side by side against the seemingly endless horde of Krill. The two women realize they have more in common than they thought, a shared connection to Bruce Banner. And just as the Krill swarm begins to break through the final defenses, a seemingly innocent flat tire suddenly halts Bruce Banner's car just down the road. He's ambushed by a group of Krill, forcing Banner into a corner, and as the Krill close in, a classic Banner transformation sends a terrifying green giant hurtling towards the diner. And back at the crash site, in a masterclass of deception, Doc Samson and Sandra Verduga pull off a brilliant bluff, allowing them to turn the tables on their would-be assassins and to steal their chopper to continue their race to Nadia's. And just as the women believe all hope is lost, the Hulk bursts through the floorboards, scattering the Krill and saving them from certain doom. The mysterious Mr. Blue, bleeding and battered, shouts a desperate plea at our Gamma-spawned brute, begging him to flee the scene. The Hulk, cradling the woman in his massive hands, gets a good look at her face, and in a shocking, heart-stopping moment, he realizes the woman he's holding on to is his late wife, Betty Ross, back from the grave and at the center of the greatest mystery of his life. The Invincible Iron Man, Volume 3, Issue 73. The story kicks off with a truly horrific way, right on the border of Ethiopia and Somalia, where a brand new Peregrine helicopter, the supposed pinnacle of military technology, suddenly goes completely sideways. Its IFF systems, targeting systems, and microwave units all begin to glitch out, causing an utter disaster that leads to the topper being shot down. The true nightmare is revealed after the clash. The helicopter's microwave weapon had melted the cooling pipes in the soldiers' special ops suits, mixing water-based coolant with carbide to create deadly acetylene gas, which then incinerated them. In the Pentagon Situation Room under the Secretary Tony Birch, the man responsible for this program is taking a brutal beating. And amidst the chaos, a plan is hatched to bring in the one person they believe can fix the problem. We then cut to Tony Stark at DEF CON East, a deliberate statement that he's out of the weapons business for good. He's presented with the Peregrine classified files and a simple offer. They don't want his weapons, they just want him. They want him to step in and consult to double-check the workmanship and prevent future catastrophes because the president won't hire or fire Sonny Birch. Just as Tony is considering the offer, a distress call to rescue a submarine, the kind of hero work Tony still takes on from time to time, brings him face to face with the problem. Upon saving the remaining crew, a moment of sickening clarity hits him like a gut punch. His own technology was used on the sub, and it was improperly mounted, causing the damage. This leads to the horrifying realization that the technology on the Peregrine was also his. The sickening discovery sends him straight to Sonny Birch for a confrontation. Bert's slick as an oil slick hits him with the absolute bombshell. He's found a legal loophole to open and use over 300 of Tony's sealed patents, handing them over to more than 100 different contractors without anyone knowing. This isn't just a loophole, folks. It's a full-blown hostile takeover of Tony's entire life's work. After the bombshell, Tony Stark knows that there's only one way to reclaim his legacy. He goes straight to the president and sets in motion a plan that will rock the entire Pentagon. You heard that right. Tony Stark, who left the weapons business, is about to be named the new Secretary of Defense. He's stepping into the heart of the beast, ready to clean house and take back what's his. What a year it's been, and from me and mine, a merry metaphorical Christmas, my mighty mavens. 2003 gave us some of the most bold and boundary-pushing storytelling in comic history, a year where our heroes were tested in fascinating new ways and pushed to their absolute limits. We saw characters forced to make the kind of impossible decisions that truly defined them, where right and wrong weren't terribly clear. There were moments that blazed a new trail through the foundations of the Marvel Universe, and their thrilling consequences would be felt for years to come. As we close the book on this truly legendary year, we can't help but look ahead because next year's chapter of comic history is already waiting. Get ready to dive into the comic madness of Thanos, the street-level justice of Elektra, and the brutal world of Wolverine as our deep dive continues. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight and keep turning those pages. And here's the complete rundown of everything that will be tackled next week. Same ordered time, same ordered omnibus.